The ongoing year was supposed to be Richardson's year. She was expected to win gold at the Paris Olympics even, but reality shattered the expectations. Her performances in the year 2024 have raised more questions than answers. While she's had flashes of brilliance, there's growing debate. Is something holding her back, or was she simply overhyped from the start? Is she still the future of women's sprinting? Join us as we will delve into the factors that may be contributing to Richardson's recent struggles. Moving forward, what do you think? It's over for Sha'Carri Richardson, or will she bounce back? Sha'Carri burst onto the scene at the 2024 US Olympic trials, where her explosive power and signature finish were on full display. Tied for first at the 60-meter mark, she shifted into overdrive, leaving her competitors in her dust, crossing the line at 10.71 seconds. This performance not only secured her a spot in the Paris Olympics, but cemented her status as a gold medal favorite. After such an extraordinary race, few doubted Richardson's ability to dominate the Olympic stage. However, hidden beneath that blistering run was an issue that would come back to haunt her: her start. Though her closing speed is legendary, Sha'Carri has always had a reputation for slow reaction times. This is particularly problematic when competing against the world's elite sprinters, where fractions of a second mean everything. While her speed in the final meters could often overcome a bad start in smaller meets, it was a different story on the grandest stages. To truly understand the complexity of Sha'Carri's performances, let's take a step back to the 2023 World Track and Field Championships. This race was pivotal in her career, as she squared off against Jamaican legends Shacarri Richardson and Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Against such fierce competition, Richardson did what she always does best: turned on the jets in the latter half of the race, finishing with a historic 10.65 seconds. This time, not only won her the gold medal, but also tied her as the 5th fastest woman ever in the 100 meters. However, her victory didn't come without warning signs. Sha'Carri had been placed all the way out in lane 9, far from the middle lanes typically reserved for top contenders. Why? Because in the semifinals, she barely scraped through, finishing 3rd with a time of 10.84 seconds, a race marred by an unusually slow reaction time. Her reaction was a full 1/10 of a second slower than her competitors, putting her in a dangerous position heading into the finals. Fortunately, her signature finishing kick saved her. But in a race where the best in the world compete, starting poorly can spell disaster. Fast forward to the 2024 Paris Olympics, an event where Richardson was expected to shine brightest. With a blistering 10.71 at the US trials, confidence was high that she would contend for gold. However, the biggest weakness of her game, her slow start, would once again be her downfall. Lining up against sprinters like Julian Alfred from St. Lucia, widely regarded as one of the best starters in the history of women's sprinting, Richardson's slow reaction time immediately put her at a disadvantage. When the gun fired, Richardson found herself left in the blocks, struggling to keep pace. Despite a strong finish, which we've come to expect from her, she could only manage a silver medal, clocking in at 10.87 seconds. Though still a remarkable achievement, it was clear to fans and analysts alike that her sluggish start cost her the gold. The issue wasn't just about one bad start. This was a recurring pattern that was costing her races when it mattered most. Sha'Carri's reaction time in the Olympic final was 0.221 seconds, the slowest of the entire field. For comparison, the average reaction time for the women's final was 0.156 seconds. If Richardson had matched the start of Julian Alfred, whose reaction was 0.144 seconds, she would have likely clocked a time around 10.79. Even then, it wouldn't have been enough to catch Alfred's winning time, but the fact remains, Richardson's poor start put her in a hole she simply couldn't dig out of this time. This brings us to the heart of the issue: Sha'Carri's starts. In smaller meets or races against less formidable opponents, her start doesn't present much of a problem. Richardson's natural speed and exceptional top-end velocity allow her to easily track down competitors and sail to victory. But when up against the world's best, athletes like Julian Alfred, Shacarri Richardson, and Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce, her slow starts become a much bigger problem. A statistical analysis of Richardson's splits reveals that when she 200 gets a solid start, somewhere between 0.14 and 0.18 seconds, she is nearly unbeatable. In fact, her 2023 World Championship run of 10.65 seconds came off a reaction time of 0.176 seconds. Solid, but not spectacular. But when her start lags beyond 0.2 of a second, her races become dramatically harder. It's not just the reaction time either. Her form over the first 20 meters of the race often appears tense and off balance, causing her to lose precious momentum before she can even hit her stride. Her start has cost her more than once, and as we saw in the 2024 Olympic final, it was the difference between silver and gold. For Sha'Carri, the problem may not be purely physical or technical. Many believe that the mental side of sprinting, the pressure, the high stakes, the expectations, is playing a significant role in her struggles. While some sprinters thrive on pressure, Richardson has shown signs of being rattled when up against elite competition. In lower stakes races, she's confident, composed, and dominant. However, when lining up against the world's best, her starts are worse, and her performance seems to suffer. At the 2024 Diamond League final in Brussels, fans were eagerly anticipating a rematch between Richardson and Alfred. But to everyone's surprise, Sha'Carri finished 8th, well behind the winner, Alfred, who clocked a comfortable 10.88 seconds. Worse still, Richardson pulled out of the 200 meters entirely, leaving fans and organizers scratching their heads. The sudden withdrawal only fueled speculation about whether the mental side of her game was holding her back. Imagine Shacarri Richardson 200-meter withdrawal. Has anyone ever expected? The truth is, sprinting at the highest level is not just about raw speed. It's about handling the moment, staying calm under pressure, and executing the race plan. For Richardson, a sports psychologist or mental coach may be the missing link. Her talent is undeniable, but her struggles in the most critical moments are raising questions about her long-term ability to stay at the top. Sha'Carri Richardson is, without question, one of the most talented sprinters of her generation. Her blistering finishes, world titles, and record-breaking times have proven that. But sprinting is about more than just talent. As Richardson's career progresses, she will need to address both the technical and mental aspects of her game if she wants to cement her place as one of the all-time greats. Her slower starts have always been a part of her racing style, but as the competition gets fiercer, it's clear that something needs to change. Whether it's refining her reaction times, improving her first 20 meters, or working on the mental side of racing, the solution to Sha'Carri's struggles is within reach. If she can put it all together, there's no telling how far she could go. The question remains, will Sha'Carri Richardson rise to the occasion, or will her mental and technical struggles prevent her from reaching her full potential? One thing is for sure, the world will be watching, and the clock is ticking. As we wrap up, the story of Sha'Carri Richardson remains a complex one. While her talent is undeniable, the question of whether she can overcome the obstacles holding her back continues to loom large. From her struggles in the Sha'Carri Richardson 100M to her unexpected performance in the Sha'Carri Richardson 200M, the track is no stranger to both her triumphs and disappointments. Despite her impressive performance at the Sha'Carri Richardson World Championships, there have been moments where Sha'Carri Richardson lost her footing, including that heart-wrenching Sha'Carri Richardson last-place finish. With each race, the pressure builds, leaving us all to wonder, will we see Sha'Carri Richardson lose again, or will she rise to reclaim her place at the top of track and field? Only time will tell.